Hey golfers, in this next video I'll be talking about left wrist in golf swing. Keep watching. Hi, it's Troy from hittingitsolid.com here. Thanks for watching. So we're talking about the left wrist in golf swing. Now this is a key part of the swing, and there's three particular positions I'm going to be talking about that the left wrist moves in the golf swing that are key to helping you play great golf. Now it's going to be a flat position of the left wrist, it's going to be a bowed position or a flexed position or a cupped position or an extended position. All three of these are important and help you play better golf. Now before I dive right in, a big thanks to my new sponsor Echo Golf, who make these fantastic golf shoes. Make sure you check them out, link in the description. Let's get stuck into this left wrist. All right, let's look at how this left wrist in golf swing from down the line, how it works in the backswing to start with. So I'll get in position here. So in the takeaway, and this is where a lot of golfers get right off track at the start of their golf swing. If I get into my nice posture, as I make my takeaway, ideally I want that club either in line with my hands or slightly outside it. I don't want to be pulling that club inside. Now, to achieve that ideal position, I want a relatively flat lead wrist or slightly cupped at the end of the takeaway. And I also want to be hinging slightly up. I don't want to be bowing it in the takeaway. This is what a lot of golfers do. Pulls the club straight back and they get into trouble straight away. So ideally what I'd like to see you do is you make your one-piece takeaway. Get a little bit of cupping in that lead wrist or flat. Hinge up slightly and we get into that nice position here. Now from here we want to hinge up. We don't want to be hinging backwards and getting that lead wrist to bow. We want to hinge up. Finish our backswing. Now the top of our backswing, this is a key position. I'd really like to have you see you have that lead wrist relatively flat. A little bit bowed or cupped is okay, but we definitely don't want it too cupped. A lot of golfers in their backswing get into trouble when they cup it way too much and they get across the line like this. Then they have to make compensations on the downswing. I'd really love to see you get a relatively flat lead wrist at the top. Particularly if you're a mid to high handicap golfer, that will help you become a lot more consistent. Even a little bit bowed is okay in that top position. Relatively flat, and that'll set you up for a fantastic downswing. So from face on, won't show it as clearly, but just to give you another visual, takeaway, we want a little bit of hinge up. If we don't hinge up enough, we could end up pulling the club inside, so we want a little bit of hinge up, flat lead wrist or slightly cupped, hinging up, and we want that nice flat lead wrist preferably at the top of that backswing. Okay, let's have a look at the downswing. Okay, the downswing now. With the left wrist and downswing, for me, this is so key. If you can master this one move, regardless of what handicap you're on, you will improve your golf swing no end at all. It is that important. And this is the same whether you're using an iron or a driver, makes no difference at all. This is a super key move, so make sure you really follow this through a bit, even watch it twice if you have to. All right, so from down the line, we get to the top. What I'd like to see you do when you get to the top of this backswing is really feel like you bow this lead wrist, turn it in like that. It has two really powerful benefits. One is it shallows the club, and the other is it squares the club face. So two super key moves, really important. Watch what happens as soon as I bow. Flattens out that shaft, we get it shallow, and it also helps me square that club face so I can get into impact in a great position. If you cup your lead wrist in the downswing, you'll come down very steep like this and likely cut across it, hit slices and pulls and get into all sorts of problems. But if you can go to the top and really feel like you're bowing that lead wrist, flattening it out, squaring up that club face, so many good things will happen to your golf game and you will improve out of sight. Super key move. All right, let's look at this left wrist in the follow through. So again, this will be different to the downswing. I'll show you this from down towards the camera so you get a better look at it. So we know we bow it on the downswing through to impact. Now in the follow through, that left wrist will still be flat post impact, but then it will fold and it will get into this cup position in the follow through, and it'll turn up like that. So the left wrist will, through to impact, it'll be flat or slightly bowed, then it will get into that cup position and it'll turn up like that. So that's how you complete the full swing with that left wrist. Now let's look at a really simple way you can practice this and get this left or lead wrist moving the right way in your golf swing. Alright, here's a simple drill you can practice at home to get this left wrist moving fantastic in your golf swing. So you can see here I've just popped a tee. There's a little gap in your golf glove, and where it joins onto the Velcro there, you can pop a tee into that, and this will give you a great visual of how your left wrist is moving throughout the golf swing. So you can see mine just there. Just get that up nice and straight there. So I'll set up to one down the line. Now in the takeaway, as we start our takeaway, if I'm doing this correctly, that tee should be pointing somewhere out there in front of me like that. I don't want it pointing in any other direction behind me. If I get my takeaway right, it should be pointing horizontal out in this direction. So as I continue the swing, now at the top of the back swing, if I'm in a pretty decent position, that tee will be pointed more up towards the sky. If I cup it too much, it'll be pointing down towards the ground. But ideally I'd like to have it either flat or bowed, just pointing a little bit more up towards the sky. So on the downswing, again as I'm bowing it, that tee will be pointing nice and horizontal. We don't want to be coming down steep, or that tee will be pointing more towards the ground. We don't want that. We want it nice and bowed, squaring up the face and through to impact. Let's have a look from face on, just to give you another visual of what it looks like. Horizontal, up to the top. Downswing, we bow it. Get into that great impact position. So that's a great way you can practice it to nail this left wrist in the golf swing. Now really important coming up, I've got a video that talks about weight shift versus hip turn, which ties in with this video to help you make a great golf swing. So make sure you watch it, it's coming up. Do you want to know how to make an even better golf swing? Click and watch the video on your screen now. It's going to go into more detail about golf weight shift versus hip turn, which ties in really well with this video to help you make a great golf swing. Do you want to know how to play even better golf? Consider subscribing to the channel. And remember, if you have any questions or comments, please let me know. I will get back to you. Thanks for watching. See you next time.